happens when one of the most famous criminal cases of the 21st century becomes the subject of a comedy show? That is the question surrounding Amanda Knox as she steps onto the stage in Edinburgh with a performance that has already created a firestorm before the first joke is even told. Amanda Knox, the American woman whose name became known around the world after she was convicted and later acquitted in the murder case of her British roommate Meredith Kercher, is beginning her show called Cartwheel at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. But instead of opening to simple curiosity, the performance has arrived surrounded by anger, criticism, and a painful debate over who gets to tell a story after tragedy. The controversy comes from the fact that Knox's life story is connected to one of the most closely watched murder investigations in recent history. In 2007, British student Meredith Kercher was murdered while studying abroad in Italy. Knox, who was Meredith's roommate, was arrested, convicted, and later spent years fighting through a complicated legal process before Italy's highest court definitively acquitted her in 2015. Now, nearly 2 decades after the case first shocked the world, Knox is turning her own experiences into a one-woman comedy performance. The show explores themes including motherhood, public judgment, wrongful imprisonment, and what it means to explain a traumatic past to her children. But here's where the story becomes much more complicated. Meredith Kercher's family has strongly criticized the decision to make a comedy show connected to events surrounding the case. Meredith's sister, Stephanie Kercher, has argued that a performance involving such a painful tragedy risks disrespecting Meredith's memory and minimizing the suffering her family has carried for years. For many people watching this controversy unfold, the biggest question is not just about comedy. It's about ownership of personal stories after a tragedy. Who has the right to tell the story of something that affected so many lives? And can humor exist alongside experiences involving grief, trauma, and loss? Knox says her show is not about making fun of Meredith Kercher's death. She has defended Cartwheel as a reflection on her own experience, including the years she spent fighting accusations, dealing with public opinion, and rebuilding her life after the legal battle. She says the performance is also about broader issues facing women, including violence, judgment, and the pressure to remain silent after trauma. The title itself comes from one of the most talked about moments from the investigation. Reports during the case focused on claims that Knox performed cartwheels at a police station after Meredith's death, a detail that became part of the public image surrounding her. Knox has said that many details from that period were misunderstood and that the show examines how public narratives can shape the way people are viewed. The Edinburgh Festival Fringe, one of the world's largest arts festivals, has also defended the show's place on the schedule. Organizers have pointed to the festival's tradition of allowing artists to explore difficult subjects and have emphasized that audiences can decide how they respond to performances. But the backlash has continued. A petition calling for the show to be cancelled gained support from people who believe the performance crosses a line by connecting comedy with a murder case that still causes deep pain for Meredith Kercher's loved ones. At the same time, supporters of Knox argue that being acquitted means she has the right to tell her story and move forward with her life. They say the controversy itself reflects the very issues Knox wants to explore: how people can become permanently defined by accusations, headlines, and public perception. And that's what makes this story bigger than one comedy show. It raises difficult questions about justice, forgiveness, memory, and the complicated ways people process tragedy. For Amanda Knox, Cartwheel is an attempt to take control of a story that has followed her for years. For the Kercher family, it represents a painful reminder of a loss that never disappeared. As the show begins in Edinburgh, audiences will now decide how they view it. Whether they see it as a personal story about survival or as something that should never have been turned into entertainment, one thing is clear: the debate surrounding Amanda Knox's name is far from over. If you found this update helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Unix Media, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest news. Thanks for watching.